with me that she had a 3-year-old child from a previous long-term relationship, which I was completely okay with. Additionally, she mentioned that she had undergone an emergency hysterectomy and couldn't have any more children, and I believed her, especially since there was a visible scar, which I later discovered was actually a C-section scar. In the beginning, we used condoms, and it wasn't until about 2 months into the relationship that we decided to exchange test results. Shockingly, I found out through the 3-year-old's father that their encounter was a one-night stand. Even more surprising was the revelation that she had taunted him about inseminating herself with his condom. It turns out she receives a significant amount of child support from him. This unexpected turn of events has left me with a lot to process and consider in our relationship. Recently, I discovered that she has 3 other children whom she left in the care of her 60-year-old widowed mother. Her mom is now supporting all of them, and the fathers are not involved in their lives. Each child has a different father, ranging from the oldest at 9 years old to the youngest who is just 1. She initially dropped off the 2 oldest kids when they were 5 and 3, claiming that she couldn't handle motherhood anymore. Later, she had another child, a 3-year-old, whom she decided to keep, but she continued to leave the others with her mom. A year ago, she had another baby whom she also dropped off at her mom's after just a month. What's even more troubling is that she has blocked her mother and the older kids from contacting her. She doesn't see them or even bother to make phone calls. This revelation has shed light on a complex family situation that I'm now trying to comprehend. I recently learned that the 3-year-old is currently in her custody, and the father had to go through the court to gain access. During his designated visitation time, he takes the 3-year-old to visit the siblings at her mom's place. It's disheartening to know that the poor kids beg him to ask their mom to contact them, and even prepare drawings and messages in the hope that she'll want to see them. This situation has taken a toll on the 3-year-old's father, leading to an argument between them, which is how I found out about the whole ordeal. It's distressing to learn that she has just dropped off 2 other kids and a newborn with her struggling mom, who is now faced with the challenge of caring for them while also working full-time. I was initially captivated by this girl, perceiving her as the most trustworthy and genuine person in the world. I felt a unique connection with her, believing I could share anything with her, and she seemed like a best friend. The father of her 3-year-old initially shared similar sentiments, but it turns out it was all a facade. I can't believe how skilled of an actress she is. When I confronted her about the truth, I made it clear that my decision to leave wasn't because she had 4 kids, but because she had lied about it. In response, she went into defense mode and resorted to threatening me with revealing secrets I had confided in her to manipulate me into staying. To make matters more complicated, she then dropped the bombshell that she's pregnant with my child. Given the timeline and the fact that we were using condoms, I strongly suspect she tampered with them, adding a layer of deceit to the already complex situation. I find myself in a challenging situation, currently in the process of paying for a prenatal DNA test, scheduled for Tuesday with results expected on Thursday. This decision stems from an update to yesterday when some people were suggesting that she might not be genuinely pregnant. To address these doubts, I took the initiative to order a pregnancy test for delivery. She took the test while on FaceTime with me, and the results came back positive. Despite this confirmation, she insists on rushing the process and intends to send the DNA test results to everyone once they are available. I'm unsure about how to proceed from here, especially assuming the child is mine. She appears confident about the situation and wants to prove it to my family by immediately sending them the results. My family is currently unaware of the situation, and I had planned to explain things to them in my own time after the test. However, she is adamant about sharing the results as soon as they are through, seemingly with the intention of hurting me. I find myself in disbelief over the reality of the person I once believed to be my best friend. Someone I thought was perfect and trustworthy has turned out to be nasty, bitter, and manipulative. It's shocking to witness how she can simply leave her 3 kids with her mom and refuse contact when they cry for her and express their desire to be with her. It's disheartening to see her treating children as if they were mere possessions. I'm concerned about the potential future with my own child. Given her pattern of behavior, it seems she might want to keep my baby, especially considering the child support she receives for the 3-year-old. I assume that's why the others are abandoned with her mother, as they bring in no financial support. It's a troubling situation, and I'm left wondering if she'll do the same to this child. I would appreciate any comments, insights, or advice from others who may have experienced similar situations. I will provide updates on the situation after the results of the prenatal DNA test come in on Thursday. We are no longer together. Edit. I'm aware that some are suggesting the mother sue her for child abandonment, but the situation is complicated. Her mother willingly takes care of the kids. When there was a threat to involve social services, UK CPS, the mother stepped in and offered to take care of the children instead. However, the mother has expressed her limits, mentioning that if a 4th child is dropped off, she won't be able to cope, and she might have to involve social services. In such a scenario, if this child were to be dropped off to her mom, it's likely that her mother wouldn't take responsibility and would instead contact social services to have the baby adopted. Social services, CPS, became involved with her due to her history of giving children away and her mental health issues. The case was closed some time ago after she supposedly demonstrated a commitment to getting mental health help. Interestingly, social services didn't seem concerned about her abandoning her other children, as they were well taken care of by her mother. Consequently, they saw no reason to remove the 3-year-old from her custody. I'm concerned that, with the registration of this pregnancy, social services might become involved again. I hope their involvement goes beyond simply advising her to take your meds and then leaving the situation. She has proven to be manipulative and intelligent, likely telling judges, social services, lawyers, and others exactly what they want to hear and playing the part convincingly. Update. Her, 27F. Baby is mine, 24M. Quick recap for those who haven't read my previous posts. I was in a relationship with someone who initially had 1 child. Later, I discovered through that child's dad that she actually has 3 other children, aged 9, 7, and the youngest just 1, all of whom she abandoned with her mother. Shockingly, she never disclosed this information to me. She doesn't see these kids and has gone so far as to block them from contacting her. It's clear she's not a good person. The 3-year-old is the only child she has custody of, and I suspect it's because the father has to pay a significant amount in child support, unlike the others. This revelation has completely transformed the image of a seemingly perfect girl, someone I believe to be kind and loving, into someone entirely different. Overnight, she turned into someone I can only describe as a witch. I'm still processing the fact that she's the same person. The child's father revealed to me that their encounter was a one-night stand, and she taunted him by admitting she only slept with him because she knew she was ovulating and inseminated herself with his used condom. While I strongly suspect she did the same to me, there hasn't been a confession yet. When I ended the relationship, she dropped a bombshell. She claimed she was pregnant. To verify the truth, I had a prenatal DNA test done on Tuesday, and I paid for expedited results the next day. Some had doubted her pregnancy claims. However, the results confirmed she is indeed pregnant, and I am the father. The DNA lab isolated fetal DNA from her blood sample and compared it to my DNA, resulting in a positive match. I'm currently in a challenging situation where she doesn't have the prenatal DNA test results. I only provided my contact details for the report, as it includes a photo of my ID to confirm my identity. In a previous prenatal test with the other child's father, she irresponsibly sent the report to random people, exposing his ID and personal information. She keeps calling me to obtain the results, but I've been declining her calls as I'm not ready to engage in a conversation with her yet. I'm unsure about what steps to take next. I know I need to tell my parents, as there's no way I can handle the responsibilities of caring for a baby without their guidance. She, on the other hand, is determined to keep the baby in her custody and refuses to consider removing it. Additionally, she's requesting that I financially contribute to things like a crib and pram. The situation is complex and I'm seeking advice on how to navigate it. Recently, I spoke to her mother, who firmly believes that the baby will be dropped off to her at some point after birth. Her mom, in her mid-60s with an adult disabled son, is already raising 3 kids and working full-time. She expressed that she cannot handle caring for a 4th child and mentioned that if it happens again, she'll have to hand the baby over to CPS. She's visibly upset at the thought, leaving me uncertain about the next steps. Now I'm faced with decisions. Should I call the mother and inform her that the prenatal DNA test results were positive? Do I observe how things unfold, allowing her to have custody and intervening only if she drops the baby off to her mom? Alternatively, do I take a proactive approach, filing for custody and preparing to fight for it as soon as the baby is born? I'm considering providing statements that highlight her history of using babies like objects and the pattern of abandonment from both her mother and ex. I'm facing a daunting prospect of having to spend thousands in court, and there's no guarantee they will grant custody to me, especially considering they declined custody to the 3-year-old's dad when he went to court. I'm at a loss about what steps to take. I'm not even emotionally prepared for a baby at this point, but it seems I now have to make a decision on whether to fight for custody or attempt to co-parent with this woman who has proven to be quite challenging. Update. I've confided in my parents about the situation, and while they are disappointed, they've shown great understanding when I explained what happened. I made it clear that I felt trapped and highlighted her history of abandoning children who aren't of financial use. My mother, in particular, has expressed support for the idea of fighting for custody. She agrees that if I gain custody or if the mother decides to hand the baby over to me, considering her track record and her own mother's refusal to take on more kids, that might be the best outcome. In a remarkable show of support, my mother has even offered to move in with me for the first few months to help me learn how to care for the baby. Now, I just need to find a solicitor to guide me through the legal process ahead. Reaction. One more reason to reconsider starting a relationship with a single mom, especially if you don't have kids of your own. Now you're potentially tied to dealing with her for the next 18 years. Some women view children as a source of income, preferring to have kids with multiple men due to the regressive nature of child support payments. The more kids they have with one man, the less money they receive compared to having kids with multiple men. Considering the situation, it might be wise to inform your ex that you intend to fight for majority custody of the baby she's pregnant with through the courts. Cease contact with her and request communication only when the baby is born. Before that, there's no reason to engage in any conversations. Collaborate with the dad of the 3-year-old and start keeping records. Since she isn't raising 3 of her kids, both of you may have a good chance at gaining majority custody. My guess is that if she's not receiving child support checks, her percentage of custody won't be as appealing. While it would be ideal for a family judge not to grant her full custody given her history, that's not always the case.